Hi everyone, I hope you're all doing very well and looking after yourselves. My name is Ramneek and I'm here to talk about some significant changes brought up by the Pearson Institute regarding the PTE Academic Examination. Now, before I start this video, I'm going to talk about two things. One, what the changes actually are, and two, how you can actually use these changes to your advantage and whether if it's a good change or a bad change or if it makes your exam easy or difficult. I'm going to go through that as well. But now, even before I start off with the changes, I want to talk about things that don't change. And that's really important because there's a lot of confusion amid students regarding this. Things that don't change. Number one, the scoring does not change at all. What I mean by that is, if you needed 7 bands or 65 out of 90 in the PTE, you still need 65 out of 90. There's no assurance from the embassy, from the government, or from any university or institute saying that no, we've now changed the bands or the scoring system. No. If you needed a 65 before, you still need 65. If you needed 79 before, you still need 79. If you needed 50 before, you still need 50. So that remains unchanged completely. Now, with what's not changing out of the way, let's talk about the improvements, and are these actually improvements? Well, the first and foremost thing that you all must have heard about is the test duration. So if you've given the PTE already, or if you're planning on giving the PTE before the 16th of November, you would know that the test is 3 hours long. And the test is again divided into 4 different modules. But this time, after the 16th of November, that means the 17th of November this year, 2021 onwards, the test will be for 2 hours. That's the biggest and most significant change. Now this leads us to change number 2. Because the test duration has been reduced, the total number of questions have also been reduced. Now, don't get me wrong here. The number of exercises still remain the same. There's still 20 exercises in the examination, just like they've always been. There's still 5 speaking exercises, 5 reading exercises, 2 writing exercises, and 8 listening exercises. That remains constant. But the total number of questions will go down, and we'll go through those in a bit. So now coming to the third change, or the third improvement. So I'm sure you're familiar with the breaks, or the optional break that's given before the listening module in the examination. But that break, even though it's optional at the moment, it will be completely removed once the changes go into effect. And that means that you no longer have the option of taking a 10-minute break before the listening module. And the fourth thing that they've suggested, or they've proposed, or rather they're working on, is removing the enabling skills section. So if you have a look there on the scorecard, down at the bottom you can see the key attributes, wherein they talk about how many marks you got for your grammar, vocabulary, spelling, pronunciation, fluency, and all those things. Now what they've decided to do is replace that with a feedback section. What that means is that they're actually trying to help you with your attempt and seeing which areas you can improve on. Now at this stage, we don't know what that looks like or what that's going to look like in the future because we haven't received that yet. But once we have that, make sure you keep watching videos and so that you know what the changes are like. Once we have those changes in front of us, we will be the first ones to let you know. And now the fifth thing. Well, this is not really a change, but it's just an addition, trying to reach more and more students in shorter time. What they've done is they've also added the option of taking the test from home. Yes, you don't need to book a test center. I've had so many students say that, the next date available is not until 1 month or until 2 months, and their visa is going to expire before that, or the university intake is before that. So what they're trying to do is allow you to take the test at home so that you don't have to wait as long to go to the test center and book at a test center of your choice. Now, obviously, we don't have much information about this, and in the beginning, there'll only be a few selected countries where this option will be available. But this is definitely on the cards. And now coming to the part that you're most likely waiting for. Has the test become easier or is it still difficult? Well, let's put it this way. It's not become easier, but it's become a lot more comfortable to give. And I'll tell you what I mean by that. So there are 3 areas which you can use to your advantage and use to your benefit so that you can soar through your examination. Number 1, because this test is now 2 hours instead of 3 hours, you stay fresh till the end. A lot of times students are exhausted over 1.5 or 2 hours, and by the time they reach the listening module, which is usually after 2 hours, they're completely exhausted and they don't know what to do. They've been fatigued and they lose their mojo, they lose their tempo. So that usually works against them. But this time that won't happen. Secondly, and highly significant these days, if you're giving your PT examination in any center of the world, you're asked to wear a face mask. Even if you're the only one in the examination center, you're still asked to wear a face mask. And a lot of times this works against the student because you're not used to wearing the face mask when you practice, which means especially when you're doing the speaking module, the face mask is highly inconvenient. Some students do suffer with the breathing as well when it comes to wearing a face mask in an enclosed space. That's very common, that's quite common. I do that sometimes as well. And on top of that, speaking becomes all the more daunting. which is probably why this will be very helpful for students if they want to give the examination from their homes. They don't need to wear the face mask. And the third thing, which I find quite helpful for some of my students, let's just say because the number of questions are now going down. For example, your weak area is the reading module. And in the reading module, there's this particular exercise, multiple choice questions, multiple answer. Let's just say you don't like that exercise. You're not a big fan of that exercise. And obviously you haven't practiced that enough. And maybe your exam is tomorrow and today you're finding out that, oh, I have to do this. You haven't done this your whole life. You go to that's a hypothetical situation, but you go to the examination hall and you sit for the exam. Earlier on, you had at least 4 or 5 MCQs, multiple answers. But now you're only going to have 1 or 2 multiple choice, multiple answer questions. Now, I don't recommend this. I want you to work hard. I want you to follow the right strategies and templates the way we ask you to do and nail all the questions in the reading. But let's just say, for example, you're having a bad day and you don't know how to do the multiple choice, multiple answer questions. Then even if you get them wrong, you only get 1 or 2 questions wrong instead of getting 4 and 5 wrong from the previous structure or from the previous format of the examination. That way, if you get 1 or 2 MCQs wrong in multiple choice, multiple answer questions, you have a chance to redeem yourselves in the other reading exercises and use that to your advantage. So while I said these 3 advantages that I've spoken about don't necessarily make the exam easy for you, but what they do is they make it a lot more comfortable or a lot more givable for you, if that makes sense. Well, if you still have any questions or doubts, please let me know. I'll be in touch. If not, then good luck with this.